Do you guys know what the topic is today? Yeah, what is it? Superheroes. Do you believe in superheroes? Do they exist?
Yes.
Do they? Who said yes? Do they exist? Who exists? Which superhero do you know? कौन सा superhero आपको पता है? Oh yes, of course, he exists. Yes, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes, he is a superhero. Very good. What's your name? Sarib. Very good. Okay. So, do these superheroes exist? Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, do they exist?
No.
They don't exist, right? I mean, Superman, he wears his underwear over his trousers and he flies around. Do you think he exists? No, he doesn't. He's a fictional character. It's just a story. So, how can I tell you about superheroes when they don't exist? They're just stories. The real superheroes are people who really and actually exist, है ना? वो actually exist करते हैं. वरना story तो कोई भी बना सकता है. मैं भी एक नाम रख सकता हूँ स्पाइडरमैन की तरह, किसी नाम हम रख दें कोई इंसेक्ट मैन, हैं? और वो कोई सुपर हीरोज की स्किल दूंगी. There is an Ant-Man. Can we step on him? So he's like an ant, huh? Acha. So superheroes don't really exist. The superheroes that you see on TV, Spider-Man ऐसे करता है तो उसके पता नहीं वो webs निकल आते हैं, and Superman सिर्फ कपड़े change करता है तो Superman बन जाता है, and no one can recognize him otherwise, huh? And he's flying around with his underwear over his pants. So they don't really exist, but there are some human beings who exist whom Allah has given some sort of superpowers. Do you guys know who those people are? Who are those people? Yeah, Mustafa?
Prophets.
The prophets, of course. So the prophets are people who, they come to deliver a message. They come to deliver a message from whom? From Allah. ठीक है? Allah की तरफ से आते हैं, वो क्या करते हैं? They come and deliver a message. And these prophets are people who have characteristics that are very, very good. ठीक है? So they are good people. And that basically is what a superhero is. The better you are as a human being, the more power Allah will give you. ठीक है? So if I become a better human being, Allah is going to give me more power. Allah is going to help me. So these prophets, they were very, very good people. They never lied. They never harmed anyone. They never did anything evil. Never. ठीक है? And Allah ने उनको कैसे help की? Allah helped him through His power. So the prophets themselves did not have any power. They did not have any superpower. But who has all the power in the world? Who? Ibrahim who? Allah has all the power, right? So Allah can choose whom He wants to give that power to and whom He doesn't. ठीक है? So if we become people who are good people, ठीक है ना? If we are good people who do good deeds, who are closer to Allah, then Allah will give us powers similar to what He did with the prophets. He's going to help us through His power. ठीक है ना? So can you guys tell me some of the things that these prophets did that was supernatural, that were powerful, some miracles? Can you guys tell me? किसी को पता कोई? No, not you, Harun. Of course, not you. हाँ जी, Mustafa.
Hazrat Musa's stick.
Yeah, what did he do with that?
He slapped it on the ground and it turned it into a snake.
Very good. Does anyone else know anything else? Some supernatural happening, supernatural power that the prophets showed? Anyone? Ji Ibrahim. Okay, very good. What's your name? Rayan. Which one did you want to share?
The time when one of them was about to die, he made the fire stop.
Okay, the time when one of them was thrown into the fire and he didn't burn to death. Which one was that, Mustafa? Yeah, Ibrahim, very good, very good. Do you guys know any other? There's one with the camel. Does anyone know that one? Yeah? Okay, a camel came out of the stone. Which prophet was that? Salih, yes. So how are these people able to do these things? They themselves weren't able to do this. It was only because of Allah that they were able to do it. And Allah gave them those powers. Why and how? He gave them those powers. Why? Because these were good people who were doing Allah's job. They were doing what Allah had tasked them to do. They were following what Allah had commanded. ठीक है Mustafa? So if you and I, we also follow what Allah has commanded, we are also good human beings, Allah is going to help us through His powers as well. Does that make sense? Okay, there was another prophet who was able to cure the blind people. Which one was that? Mustafa, you have to guess yourself. You can't ask your brother.
I think it was Isa.
Does anyone else want to guess? Yeah, Mustafa was right. Very good, Mustafa. Okay. ठीक है. So I want to tell you guys a story. And this is a real story. Not, those Superman, Batman stories that everyone can make up. I'm going to tell you a real story. And that real story is a story that the Prophet ﷺ told us. ठीक है? This is a real story about a king. ठीक है? There was a king who lived long time ago. There was a king who lived. And this king, he had a lot of power. And he had some people around him who were magicians. Do you guys know what a magician is, right?
Yeah.
Magicians, what do they do?
Fake magic.
Fake magic. Okay. Ji Ibrahim, what do they do? Fake magic.
Do magic tricks.
Just do magic tricks. Okay. So there was this magician. ठीक है? He used to help the king. And this magician, he used to sort of trick the people into believing that the king was very powerful and into following the king. ठीक है? So one day this magician became very, very old. And he told the king that I'm about to die. So can you send to me a little boy who I can teach my magic to, and then that boy is going to help you. ठीक है? So what the king did, he sent his men around and he said, bring me a very intelligent boy. So they brought to him this intelligent boy, and the magician, he started teaching him what? Magic. ठीक है? He started teaching him magic. Now this boy he's learning this magic. He's learning these magic tricks and whatever magic these people do. And he's learning it from whom? The magician, who's very, very old. One day when the boy goes to the magician, he's learning this magic and he's going back home. When he's going back home, what happens is he comes across a monk or a believer in God, a believer in Allah. ठीक है? He meets this man. And this man asks him, where are you going and where are you coming from? He says, I'm going home. And where are you coming from? I was at a magician's place and I was learning magic. And this man, who's a good Muslim, who's a believer, he says, why are you learning magic? He says, I'm learning magic so I can help the king. So this man, this believer, he takes the boy and he teaches him about Allah. And he teaches him about the religion. And he starts teaching him and he says, you shouldn't learn magic, you should learn this. This is what's going to really help you. This is what's going to really benefit you, because Allah is going to help you. If you learn about your religion, about your faith, and if you become a good person, Allah is going to help you. ठीक है Mustafa? Okay. So now this boy, he starts learning with this believer as well. ठीक है? So now he's got two teachers. One is a magician, the other one is a believer. ठीक है? So one day, this boy, he on his way to the magician, he stops with the believer, he learns with the believer, and then he goes on to the magician. The magician becomes very angry. Why are you so late? तुम late क्यों हो गए? इतनी देर से क्यों आए हो? So the magician started beating the boy that you should always come on time and never be late. So this boy, he goes to the believer, he says that, when I go to the magician, when I learn from you and when I go to the magician, he beats me up because I'm late. And when I go back home, my parents also say, why are you so late? So this believer, he told this boy, you should tell the magician that you're late because your parents delayed you. And you should tell your parents that you're late because the magician delayed you. So it was a secret that the boy was learning from the believer. Why was it a secret? Can you guys guess why? Why would he keep it a secret? Jirian.
Because if it wasn't, people would go kill it.
Would kill who?
The believer.
Why?
For believing in the God.
So for believing in God. So because this king himself said that he was God. Now how can a king be a God? How can a human being be God? They can't be God, right? So because of this, everyone who used to believe in God used to be hidden, used to be in hiding. They used to hide the fact that they would believe in God. ठीक है? What's your name? Muhammad? Ibsham. Are you following? ठीक है, good. Have you heard this story before? No, that's very good. Has anyone heard this story before? You have? That's very bad. You shouldn't have heard it before. You should hear it for the first time here. Okay, so most of you haven't, so that's good. Okay, so now this boy is learning from two people, from the believer and from the magician. And years go by and he's learned a lot of magic. And now also he's learned a lot about Islam and about Allah. One day what happens in the city, what happens is there comes a big animal, some sort of a beast, some sort of animal who comes and he's disturbing the people. And the people are running away and they don't know what to do. So what this boy does, he's a very intelligent boy. This boy goes up to that animal and he thinks to himself and he prays to Allah. He says, "Oh Allah, if what the believer is teaching me, if that is more beloved to you, then make me stop this animal." And he makes this dua and he's able to stop the animal. ठीक है? How he's able to stop the animal, we don't know the details because the Prophet ﷺ did not tell us. Lekin he makes dua, this boy he makes dua, कि oh Allah, if what the believer is teaching me, if that is correct, अगर वो ठीक है, तो फिर make me stop this animal from disturbing the people. And he's able to stop the animal from disturbing the people. That's when he finds out that from the two things that he's learning, which one is better and which one is more beloved to Allah. So he's learning two things. He's learning magic and the other thing he's learning is what? Islam. Okay, he's learning about Allah. So he's learning these two things. Now he finds out that, Islam or what I'm learning from the believer is better. The magic that the magician is teaching me, it's not worth it. It's not good. So he goes back to his teacher, who's the believer, and he tells him about what happened. And then the teacher, his believer, the believing teacher, what he says is, he says, "Now my son, you have even become better than me. Because Allah has used you to help people. And now Allah is going to test you. So whenever Allah tests you, don't disclose my name." ठीक है? He says, when Allah tests you, तो मेरे बारे में ना बताना किसी को. Believer कह रहा है कि तुम्हें अब Allah टेस्ट करेगा, तो मेरे बारे में ना बताना किसी को. Keep my identity hidden. So this boy says, ठीक है, I won't tell anyone. And then what starts happening is, this boy is able to cure the blind people. Blind people can't usually be cured. But this boy, he starts curing blind people. And how is he able to do that? Can anyone guess? With the power from Allah. Ibrahim, can you add? What were you going to say? Same thing. So the boy is able to help the blind and those who were sick or who had a disease that wasn't curable. This boy was able to help them. This boy was able to fix them. This boy sort of had these superpowers that who gave the boy? Allah gave the boy. ठीक है? Why did Allah give it to him? Because he was good and he was learning about his faith, about his religion. ठीक है? So what happens is, everyone starts, loving this boy, and they know that this boy is very, very good. And whenever we have a problem, whenever we have some sort of sickness, we can go to the boy. And whenever they used to go to the boy used to tell them that I cannot cure you. I don't have this power. It's only Allah who's able to do this to you. So I just pray to Allah and He is the one who cures you. So these people started to believe in Allah as well. ठीक है? They started to believe in Allah as well. And one day, the king, he had a minister. And this minister of the king, he became blind. Okay? He was getting old, so with age, your eyes start to become weak. Nowadays, we have an operation that can fix that, but in those times, we didn't have that operation. They didn't have it. So, when he becomes old, the minister, he becomes blind. And now the minister wants to be cured. So someone tells him about this boy, that this boy is able to cure your blindness. So this minister, he takes some gifts to the boy. उसको गिफ्ट्स देता है, कहता है यार मैं आपके लिए गिफ्ट्स लेके आया हूं, कैन यू प्लीज क्योर मी, मुझे ठीक कर दो. सो द बॉय सेज कि आई कैन नॉट क्योर यू, मैं तो नहीं ठीक कर सकता, लेकिन मेरा रब ठीक कर सकता तुम्हें, माई लॉर्ड कैन क्योर यू. सो the minister says, then please ask your Lord to cure me. So the boy, he makes dua, and what happens? The minister, he can see again. He was blind, and now he can see again after this boy made dua for him. So the minister goes back to the king, and the king is surprised. How did you get your eyesight back? And the minister said that my Rabb, my Lord, He is the one who gave me back my eyesight. Yani Allah is the one who gave me back my eyesight. The king said, तुम्हारा कोई और रब भी है मेरे अलावा? Do you have a Lord other than myself? Because the king is the one who used to say that I am the supreme Lord and everyone should worship me. So the minister says, yes, I have a Lord other than you, and He is Allah, and He is the one who cured me. So the king became very, very angry. And what he started to do, he started to beat this minister. He started to hit him a lot. And he called all of his soldiers and he said, you should beat this man, and so that he rejects Allah and starts telling me how he got this eyesight cured. So when they were beating the minister, he told the king that the boy is the one who made dua for me, and that's how I became cured. So the king says, bring this boy to me. So when the boy came, the king said, now you've got so good in your magic that you can cure people. But the boy said, no, this is not because of magic. This is not because of magic. It's because I now believe in Allah, and when I pray to Him, because I'm good, He helps me. Allah helps me. And the king became very angry because he doesn't want to hear about Allah. Because the king doesn't want anyone to be superior than him. And of course, Allah is superior than the king. So the king begins to harm the boy as well, begins to torture him. उसको मारना शुरू कर देता king. और वो बच्चे से कहता है कि तुमने कहां से ये बातें सीखी हैं? So because the boy was being beaten up so much, उसको इतना torture कर रहे थे वो, कि उसने believer के बारे में बता दिया अपने teacher के बारे में. तो king ने कहा बुलाओ उसको, लेके आओ मेरे पास, bring him. So they brought, his soldiers brought the believer को लेके आए वो उसके teacher को. और उसका तुमने बच्चे को क्या सिखाया है? तो उसने कहा मैंने अल्लाह ताला के बारे में सिखाया. I taught him about Allah. And the king became very angry. And he said that you should reject Allah. You should reject Allah and you should believe in me. And he believed in the king. That I am the one who is the most supreme. मैं अल्लाह से भी बड़ा हूं, king कहता था. तो जो टीचर था उसका, उसने कहा मैं हरगिज नहीं तुम्हारे में बिलीव करूंगा, मैं अल्लाह ताला में सिर्फ बिलीव करता हूं. So what they did is they brought a big saw. Do you guys know what a saw is? What is a saw?
It's like a giant thing.
A giant thing.
It's sort of like a big knife, but mainly used for wood cutting.
Big knife used to cut wood. ठीक है, very good. So they brought this big saw and they put it on the head of the teacher who was a believer. They put it on his head and they said that if you don't reject Allah, we're going to saw you in half. We're going to saw you in half. We're going to saw your body in half. And you're going to die, obviously. So, what did this teacher say? What does this believer say? He said, I don't reject Allah. I will reject you, but I won't ever reject Allah. So the king and his soldiers, what they did is they sawed him in half and they killed him. And the minister saw this happen. The minister who was blind, he saw this happen. And they then brought the minister. He said, are you going to reject Allah, or should we do the same that we did with this person right here? And he will kill you as well. And because these people have very, very firm faith and belief in Allah, they weren't prepared to reject Allah. ठीक है ना? So what happens is the king and his soldiers, they put a sword on the head of this minister and they saw him in half. Both of them, what happens to them? They get sawed in half and they die. ठीक है? They are killed. They are killed in this world, but in the next life Allah is going to reward them, right? Because we know that this life is not the end of everything. Hana Musa, right? You know that, right? So this life is not the end. We believe that there is another life after this life as well, where Allah is going to reward the believers. So both of these people were killed. And they bring the boy again. And what do they say to the boy? Can you guys guess? We'll saw you in half if you do not reject Allah. Good, very good. ठीक है? Is everyone following? Okay, alhamdulillah. So what happens is they bring the boy and they say the same thing to him. But the boy rejects it. But the king doesn't really want to kill the boy. Why? Because the king knows that this boy is powerful and I want to use him for myself. So what he does is, he tells his soldiers to take this boy on top of a mountain and ask him to reject Allah. If he doesn't reject Allah, then just throw him off the mountain so that he dies. So what happens is, they start taking him up the mountain. They're beating him and taking him up the mountain. When they're up the mountain, what does the boy do? He prays to Allah. He makes dua to Allah. And when he prays to Allah, there's an earthquake, the mountain starts shaking. All of the soldiers, either they run away or they fall off the mountain. And this boy is saved. He comes down and he goes back to the king. How was this boy able to save himself? Can you guys guess how? Through an earthquake. Was he able to cause the earthquake himself? No? Or yes? No, why not? Allah caused it. Why did Allah cause it for him?
Because he learned Islam and had faith.
Okay, so because he had faith. ठीक है? And that's the important thing that I want to teach you and talk to you about. That these superheroes, they don't really have any powers. It's just stories that are entertaining. The real superheroes are those people who Allah grants power to, who are good and live good lives, so that whenever they make dua to Allah, Allah will help them. That's the real superheroes. ठीक है ना? So this boy, what he does is, he makes this dua, the people, they either run away or fall off the mountain, and he comes back to the king, and the king is amazed. He said, how did you get back? He said, I prayed to Allah and Allah saved me. But the king still wants to kill this boy. So the king tells his soldiers, okay, take this boy, go to the middle of the ocean in a boat, and then throw him off the boat. ठीक है? Throw him off the boat. Ask him to reject Allah, and if he doesn't, then throw him off the boat so that he drowns. So they take him in the boat in the middle of the ocean. They say, oh boy, do you want to live or do you want to die? He says, I want to live. Then you have to reject Allah. He said, I will never reject Allah. And the boy, he prays, he makes dua to Allah that Allah should save him. And what happens is, there's a storm and the boat, it starts shaking, and some people jump off, some people are drowned, but the boy is alive and the boy is saved. He gets back to the king, and the king is amazed. He says, what happened to your companions? What happened to the people in the boat with you? He said, I prayed to Allah and Allah saved me and did not save them. So now the king is really worried. He says, how can I get rid of this boy? Because now this boy is going to teach the whole community about Islam and about Allah, and everyone is going to listen to Allah and not listen to me. This is what the king is worried about. He's worried about his kingdom. He's worried about his power. So the boy says, I can tell you how you can kill me. And now the king is all ears. He says, अच्छा, so कैसे मैं मार सकता हूं तुम्हें? वो बच्चा कहता है, मैं बताता हूं कैसे मार सकते हो तुम. So the boy says, if you gather all the people, सब लोगों को अगर तुम इकट्ठा करो और मुझे दरख्त के साथ बांध दो, if you tie me to a tree and if you take an arrow from my quiver, उसके पास जो bow and arrow था, boy के पास, तो कहोगे कि मेरा तुम arrow लोगे और मुझे दरख्त के साथ बांध दोगे और सब लोगों को बुलाओगे, and if you say Bismillah in the name of the Lord of the boy, और फिर arrow को अगर छोड़ोगे तो तब मुझे मार सकते हो. That's the only way you can kill me. You can only kill me if you bring all these people, tie me to a tree, take my arrow, and then take the name of Allah, and that's the only way you can kill me. So the king thinks, okay, this is what I'll do, because I want to save my kingdom. I don't want the people to believe in Allah, and I want to get rid of this boy. ठीक है? So this is what the king does. The king, he gathers all these people, and he says that, there's a criminal that we have caught, I'm going to kill this criminal. But all of the people of the city already knew this boy. How did they know this boy? Can you guys guess? Yes?
Because he cured their blindness.
Very good. So all of the people in the city already knew about the boy, and they were already hearing these stories that the soldiers, they took him to the mountain but he didn't die. The soldiers, they took him to the middle of the sea, middle of the ocean, and he didn't die. So they had heard about him. So when the king said that this is a criminal that we're going to kill or we're going to execute, the people didn't really believe in the king. They knew about the boy already. So what the king and his soldiers did, they tied the boy to a tree trunk. ठीक है? And the king then, what he does is he takes an arrow from the boy and he loads up the bow with the arrow, and he says, Bismillah, in the name of Allah, the Lord of the boy, the Rabb of the boy. And he shoots, and the arrow, it hits the boy in his temple, and as soon as it hits, the boy, he holds on to the arrow and he dies. And what happens to the boy? He dies. The boy dies. The king is able to kill the boy. He was able to kill the boy the way the boy said he would be able to. As soon as that happens, all of the people who see this, all of the people who see this, what happens? They start believing in Allah. They says, we believe in the Rabb of this boy. We don't believe in you, king, anymore. You are not the most powerful. Allah is the most powerful. So what the king wanted to avoid, that is what happens. All of these people, they start believing in Allah. So a lesson from this story is, number one, superheroes don't really exist. The ones that you see on TV, they're just stories. Anyone can make up these stories. Real superheroes are people who actually believe in Allah, follow His commands, are good in every sense of that word, are very, very good people. And whenever they make dua to Allah, Allah listens to their dua. And Allah is the one who gives them power and ability. And what happens next in this story is that all of these people, they start believing. And this king is a very, very, very evil king. ठीक है? He's already killed his minister. He's already killed that teacher. Now he's killed the boy as well. But he's still not able to achieve what he wanted to, because all of the people in that city, they start believing in Allah. So what does the king do next? Do you guys know what he does next? Can anyone guess, other than those who have heard this story before? Okay, so what happens is, this king, he tells all the people to reject Allah, otherwise he's going to kill them all. He's going to kill all of them. But what happens is, none of them rejects Allah. They all are firm believers in Allah now. So what the king does, he digs ditches. Do you guys know what a ditch is? What is it?
It's a hole that goes miles deep down.
It's a hole in the ground that is miles deep. Okay, ठीक है? ठीक है, Mustafa? Does that make sense? Okay. So the king digs a number of ditches. And what he does is he ignites a fire in those ditches. Can you guys guess what's going to happen? He's going to throw them in the ditches, and what's going to happen to them? They're going to burn, and then when they burn, they die. So this king is a very, very evil king, and anyone who believes in Allah, he's going to harm them. So what happens is he digs these ditches, and the people, they don't reject Allah. So his soldiers, they start throwing these people into the fire. And when they throw them into the fire, the people obviously they die. Now, there's a mother, she's carrying a little child. And the soldiers are trying to throw this mother and her child into the fire. But now this mother, because of her child, she starts hesitating. She says, I don't want to die, and I don't want my son to burn. She starts hesitating. ठीक है? Because no one wants to die like that. And she starts thinking, this mother starts thinking, maybe I should reject Allah so that I can save my son. And as soon as she starts thinking that, her son, who's very, very young, who's maybe, a couple of months old, can a couple of months old child speak? Can they speak? No, they can't. Okay? So, but Allah causes this child to speak. And He says, the child tells his mother that, oh mother, you're on the right path, don't worry about me, just jump, it's okay. And this mother, she's also thrown into the fire and she dies. And Allah, He talks about these people in the Quran. Allah talks about these people who were burnt alive. Allah talks about them in the Quran. Does anyone know which surah it is? Anyone? It's Surah 85. I think it's Surah 85, Surah Buruj. And Allah says that these people who believed in Him and then suffered are people who are going to be blessed by Allah. And Allah is going to enter them into His paradise, and they're going to live in there forever, and they'll have everlasting happiness, and they'll never ever ever be harmed again. They'll never ever ever be sad again. So this is how Allah, He helps people. How does Allah help people? If people, they become good and they do good deeds, they learn about their religion, they learn about Allah, they pray, then Allah is the one who gives them powers. Allah is the one who makes things easy for them. Allah is the one who opens doors for them. Allah is the one who helps them. So that whenever you make dua, Allah is the one who's going to help you. So you guys also want, things in life, right? You also want maybe toys and, PlayStations and whatever else is out there, Nintendo Switch. And if you want those things, you have to be good. You have to be good and then make dua as well. And if you do that, things are going to happen for you. And that's basically what I wanted to share with you. There's no superheroes. They're all stories. The real superheroes are those who are closer to Allah and whom Allah gives powers to. ठीक है? Does everyone understand that? Does anyone have any questions?
Yes.
You have a question? Very good. Let's go.
What was the name of the king?
What was the name of the boy? We don't know. We don't know because the Prophet ﷺ didn't tell us the name of the boy. But that's a good question.
And the king?
And the king, we don't know. We don't know any of these names, otherwise I would have told you. So we don't know. But we do know that this king, he lived before the time of Rasulullah ﷺ, and he lived in what is now the country of Yemen. You guys know where Yemen is? So the country of Yemen, closer to that region. That's where he lived, this boy. This king. Obviously the boy also lived there. Ibrahim, do you have any questions? Okay. Anyone else? Okay, good. Ji? Which language did they speak? That's a good question. Probably something closer to Arabic. Because they were in that region in that time, so probably something closer to Arabic. Not exactly Arabic maybe, but some other dialect. Any other questions? Okay.